So initially, for any police that are watching, or criminal investigators that are watching, or anybody else that's watching, what we discuss next is allegedly. So there's no, there's no sort of, we don't have any evidence. We're not investigating anybody. We're just going to talk about what we have seen and heard. So a little disclaimer for any authority, shall we say, that might be watching. So, yes, the first one I wanted to start with was Benjamin Mendy. Wow, yeah, that's a big talking point. It's like starting with Jimmy Savile, really, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? It's a hell of a deep dive. So Benjamin Mendy, currently in jail or prison, I don't know what the correct term is, for allegedly sexually assaulting 4 women. Apparently 3 of them, I believe, were in October. I'm just going to bring it up now. Let's have a little look here. So yeah, 4. Yeah, so he's basically got 4 counts of rape and 1 account of sexual assault. I wanted your opinion on it, Becky. I'll start with you first. We've seen this in the past where just names off the top of my head: Cristiano Ronaldo. I think Johnny Evans was involved in something like this too. Generally, football clubs, when there is sort of an accusation, they're quite flexible. They go, look, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. We're going to keep playing you. A lot of people are okay with that. With the Mendy situation is interesting because it says 3 of the rapes were alleged to have taken place in October 2020. So Manchester City, should I say, I beg your pardon, would have known about 3 different potential rape cases, yet they still kept playing him. Now, what's your take on that, Becky, initially?
Well, I'd be intrigued to know what sort of details they knew about that at the time. You say they were allegedly aware of 3 cases. There's a lot that's going on behind the scenes there, isn't it, that we won't get to know about. You talked about Ronaldo as an example. There was allegations against him. Obviously, he's a much bigger name who's established much more in the game, so he's almost got sort of credit, and a lot more credit in the bank, reputation-wise, than someone like Mendy, because he hasn't done like this before that we know of, but he's a social media star more than a footballer. He's been known to be a bit of a loose cannon, Benjamin Mendy. So with Ronaldo, the 1 alleged case, and then 3 to 4 cases with Mendy, I think is slightly different. But there's a lot that we probably don't know about this. But where is it exactly at the moment? Is he in prison and it's resolved, or is it a pending trial?
No, yeah. So it's pending trial. He's basically been denied bail, so he's going to stay in prison or jail until the trial is over. At which point, if he's a free man, obviously he'll clear his name, and if not, he'll get his custodial sentence, so to speak. But what is your take on it, Jack? Initially, what was your thoughts on it when you saw it?
Yeah, I sort of agree with what you're saying in terms of the situations, although rightly or wrongly, I can see why clubs would treat them differently. So Ronaldo, one, it was 1 case, and 2, he's a massive star, and he was at Juventus at the time, wasn't he? So he would have been kind of their best player. Whereas Mendy, I mean, outside of this anyway, there's a lot of trouble. Mendy's in the papers a lot more for what he does off the pitch than on it, and I just feel like they wouldn't have sort of lost anything if they did sort of suspend him. I don't know the legal ramification of that if they did that, whether he could sue them or not. But just from a reputational standpoint, I think they would have been better off just suspending him, like with pay. You might have to do that. It's difficult to comment without kind of knowing. To be honest, I've not massively looked into what's gone on, but I know it's one of the more serious ones of the last few years, isn't it? But I just feel like City should have just used that as an excuse to bin him, really.
Yeah, do you know what? He hasn't really performed, has he? I mean, considering he was, I think at the time if he wasn't the most expensive if he wasn't the most expensive fullback, he was definitely one of the most expensive fullbacks. And the Mendy situation is interesting because we had Nicky Hunt on the podcast, Jack, a while back. So Nicky Hunt used to play for Bolton. And Nicky came on and we were talking about football players being an asset. I think at the time we were discussing, it might have been Ravel Morrison with him or someone else. And basically what he was saying was, as long as you're an asset to a club in some way, shape or form, they will do their utmost to protect you. But once you stop being an asset to them, then basically you're of no value anymore. So, they'll bin you first point they get. Becky's back. Here we go. So, that was interesting hearing that from Nicky Hunt, because obviously when I saw the Benjamin Mendy situation, I didn't think of it actually, Jack, from a legal standpoint, from Mendy's side, because he could, as you say, turn around and go, look, I'm innocent until proven guilty. You're destroying my reputation. Whereas Man City could then turn around and go, you've got 4 rape cases against you. Like I think he started the game against Spurs on the opening day of the season as well. So even up until that point, Man City were very comfortable playing him. And City themselves, it's hard to have a moral compass in business and football, because City are known for cooking the books, right? We know what they do. Like, they spend a huge amount of money, or they have done, and clearly there's been something dodgy going on behind the scenes. But it's almost that win at all cost mentality. Becky, now you're back. I mean, obviously, if Benjamin Mendy does come back and is found not guilty, do you think he still has a future at Man City, or is he pretty much done?
No, I think, you can't say he doesn't have a future, because if he's ruled that the allegations are false and he hasn't done what the rumors saying that he has done, then it would be unfair. There is going to be that stigma, where that will always be attached to you. And you always told me, the saying "mud sticks," and it will for an extent. But if he hasn't done it, I'd like to think that Man City would back him and put an arm around his shoulder and say, this isn't going to be easy, but if the evidence shows he hasn't done it, then time does heal it. And then he'd have to sort of really get his head down and put in a performance. But you can't really say that he's ever fully done that 100% prior to this.
Yeah, I agree.
He's never really been that type of player who's just got his head down and focused 100% on football. But it's a tough one. I wouldn't like to say that if he's proven not guilty that his career's over with City. I don't think that's the case. You always get a second chance, don't you?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, it's one of those things where it is a very difficult situation from a moral standpoint. Although a lot of football fans, if you ask them, success is everything to them, so they probably don't care either which way. But I mean, if he is not guilty, and the length of this trial, I'd be interested to see how long he does have on his City contract, because the likelihood is they probably wouldn't renew him. Like, he wouldn't have played for years. He only plays about 12 games a season anyway. So, they'd easily go out and get a better left back. But
yeah, the thing is, if it was a better player, like a world-class player who's really important to the team, then you'd imagine they'd definitely stick with him. And football fans have short memories, So if it was like a Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example, Liverpool fans, all fans have short memories. If he was proven not guilty and he starts playing superbly well again, then people will forget, So, but with Mendy, like you say, it's not quite the case there with him.
Yeah. I'm sure as time evolves, we'll get more information. But for now, it is, they are alleged, or he has allegedly done something. So we'll leave Ben there.